In the years after the Russian Revolution, everything seemed possible. The old world of tsars and palaces had fallen, and in its place, architects dreamed of something radical. Not just new buildings, but a new humanity. They called it Constructivism, a movement that believed architecture could build a better society, a world powered by machines, equality, and pure geometry. This is a story of the dream cities of the Soviet Union and why they were never built. The 1920s in Russia were a time of experimentation and chaos. Artists and engineers believed they were building not just a new government, but a new civilization. In painting, there was suprematism, bold, floating shapes. In design, there was productivism, art for workers, not galleries. And in architecture, there was constructivism, form stripped to its purest logic. Forget palaces and domes. Constructivists imagined factories as temples, housing blocks as machines, and towers as spirals of progress. This was Tatlin's tower, planned to be 400 meters tall, made of glass and iron. Twisting toward the sky like a double helix of revolution. Inside, massive rotating rooms would host the new Soviet government. It was never built, but it became the perfect symbol of the movement, bold, impossible, and utopian. For constructivist architects, the goal wasn't beauty, it was transformation. They believed that buildings could change people's behavior, could literally build socialism into the human soul. Apartments would have no private kitchens. Instead, they were shared canteens, laundries, and communal spaces, designed to erase individualism and encourage collective life. One of the few built examples was the Narkomfin Building in Moscow, designed by Moisei Ginzburg. It was a kind of social experiment. Compact apartments, open corridors, a rooftop garden, a new way of living for the new Soviet citizen. Ginzburg called it a social condenser, architecture that would condense social energy, mixing people from all walks of life into one shared experiment. It was idealistic. It was beautiful in theory, but it didn't last. By the early 1930s, the Soviet Union had changed. The avant-garde was out, and Stalin was in. Under Stalin, art and architecture became propaganda. The state demanded grandeur, not experimentation. The constructivists' clean geometry was replaced by columns, spires, and patriotic statues, the language of empire reborn. Many constructivist architects were forced to adapt or disappear. Tatlin stopped designing. Ginzburg faded from public life. Their glass utopias gave way to heavy marble and bronze. architecture became a tool of control, not liberation. The dream of the collective was buried under stone. But the story doesn't end there. Even though constructivist buildings were rarely built, their ideas spread around the world. You can see their DNA in Bauhaus, in brutalism, and even in Zaha Hadid's fluid angular forms. Zaha once said she felt closer to the Russian avant-garde than to any modern school. Their experiments, their courage to rethink space, shaped the entire 20th century. The constructivists taught us that architecture isn't just shelter. It's philosophy made visible. A way to ask, what kind of world do we want to live in? Their buildings may have crumbled, but their vision of a society built on equality, transparency, and progress still feels strangely futuristic. Forgotten by history, constructivism reminds us that design is never neutral. Every wall, every window, every tower tells a story about power, hope, and human possibility. I'm Mahsa, and this was Forgotten Architecture. Until next time.